Simon Boyd is managing editor of Reed Steel. He voted for the UK to leave the European Union and told me he was very unhappy about the deal on the table.
Well, I think it'll be a disaster for British businesses, their employees and families. This is not what the British people voted for. What seems to have come out from Chequers on Friday is a complete betrayal. It's nothing like what we were promised in the Lancaster House speech, where we were promised that we would come out of the customs union, out of the single market and out of the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice.
But under this plan, it's a facilitated customs arrangement. It's still not part of the customs union. It is different, isn't it?
Well, it's not really different. Look, they're saying that we're going to have regulatory alignment when what we need is mutual recognition. The customs union only works for the few, and it restricts us from making our own trade deals around the rest of the world where all the growth is.
But when the Chequers meeting ended, those government ministers were saying this is not going to prevent the UK from doing a deal, for example, with the United States.
Well, I believe it is. It's going to affect it terribly. We need to get back control of our standards, our regulations, and to do that we have to be outside the single market. And to be free to set trade deals up with everybody else in the world, we have to be outside the customs union.
So which rules do you really want to escape from? Which do you say make it more difficult for you and your business?
We have to be free. Businesses like ours want to see the re-establishment of British standards. That doesn't mean that we can't work to European standards, and anybody who wants to trade in the European Union should be free to adopt those standards.
But why does it mean, from your reading, that that won't happen? It's just that they will be aligned with European standards.
Because we're competing in a world market where we compete against American steel, we compete against the growing economies in India, we're always competing against China, Australia, to name just a few. None of these countries have to comply with all the European nonsense that gets peddled around. British standards were seen by many as the finest in the world. It's just that we can simply have mutual recognition between the UK and the EU, and we incorporate European standards as a new British standard and diverge where it suits British business.
Well, that was Simon Boyd, Managing Director of Reed Steel.